All right, Voncast show. I want to say thank you for being on the show. This is the rapper 60 East. How's it going, man?
What up, bro? How you been?
Pretty good, pretty good. Cool. So 60 East is a rapper. He also has a music fest, right? That's correct, called the Happiness of Pursuit Fest. Um,
Yep.
I guess we'll start off at the beginning, man. Tell us about where you grew up and how's your childhood?
I grew up in Ontario, California.
Okay.
I grew up, Southern California. I grew up like in between two, primarily Hispanic neighborhoods, and I grew up like right in between, right in the middle. So it was like a mixed area. So I grew up with
Mm-hmm.
like there was white dudes, black dudes, Asian dudes. It was kind of like a mixed section of the city. So I grew up like real diverse and always around different cultures and stuff like that. And that's kind of how I got into hip hop. And yeah.
Nice. Cool, cool. So, what were your earliest memories of hip hop? Like, how were you exposed to it?
The first thing I remember was my older cousin. He came over one day and he started breakdancing, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, I was blown back. I was like, dude, that is so cool. Well, this was my older cousin that I always like looked up to and wanted to be like anyway. So like
Right.
when I seen that, like I started getting into breakdancing, and then I remember
Mm-hmm.
like looking up like old Rocksteady videos, and then I came across like Beat Street and like those movies on the TV and stuff, and I just got embedded in the culture from there.
Mm-hmm. Nice, man. So, from there, how did you end up deciding to rap? I mean, how did you go from breakdancing to decide, hey, I want to pick up a microphone?
Well, it's funny because like we all started breakdancing at my house, but my older
Mm-hmm.
brother wasn't really like good at dancing. He wasn't really coordinated, so he was
Right.
like, "Dude, I gotta have something to do," you know. So he started DJing, and then he
Mm-hmm.
started DJing while we would breakdance, and then that transitioned to him starting to produce, and then us
Right.
having to learn how to rap over the beats and stuff like that. And then this was all like when we were kids, and then that turned into like junior high. We actually started like recording stuff like that. And then high
Mm-hmm.
school, like my brother like pretty much started a little label out of the house. A couple other
Nice.
cats from the neighborhood, you know what I mean? We're all under his management and stuff like that. And I mean, that was how we got started.
Nice, man. What age were you when you started picking up a microphone and rapping? Hello?
Yo,
Yeah. What age were you when you started rapping?
yikes! I want to say around like third grade. I don't know how
Third grade.
third,
Oh,
fourth
wow.
grade. Yeah, I don't know how that is.
You're like, I guess, around like 8, 9, maybe 10 years old, I guess. Maybe, I think. That's
Yeah,
dope.
that would make sense. That would make sense because my brother's 3 years older than me, so he was around 11, and then my older cousin was around 13, 14 when he
Mm.
started all that stuff. So yeah, I was always the youngest of the bunch.
Right, right. So you're in that age. You were like 8, 9, 10 years old. What was on the radio? Or what were you listening to at the time, rap-wise?
Oh man, I remember Tupac.
Mm.
I remember Tupac heavy. I mean, at this time, like I didn't really have like my own stuff that I liked. You know, I was just like listening to what my brother was listening to, or my cousin, or my parents, or whatever it may be. But
Mm-hmm.
around that time, I remember Tupac being on the radio heavy, and I just remember like really digging deep into him and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Um, so with that said, like, who were your early influences besides Tupac, and who were they, and how did they stand? Why did they stand out to you?
um, early, like when I first started getting into hip hop, I loved like East Coast hip hop and like
Mm-hmm.
I like rapping, like lyricism. That's always
Right.
like really been my favorite aspect of hip hop. And I mean, early on, I really liked Cannabis. Rockin'
Uh,
was always has Rockin' to this day is still my all time favorite.
right.
Common. I remember the day. I still remember the day I first heard "I Used to Love Her," and that was the first time I actually heard like a concept song. and that
Mhm.
really blew my head back, and that really inspired the way I write to this day, because most of my music is concept driven, and I'll pretty much blame that on Common for that.
Mhm. Yeah, his stuff is pretty cool. I remember when I first heard that song, I agree. Like it was different. It was not what I was used to listening to. Well, do you have any early rap names that you came out with, or were you always 60 East?
Oh man, I can't. I had so many rap names. The first name I could think of, though, I mean, the first one I remember, I was like seventh grade. I went by MC Turbo,
Nice.
and
MC in the
it was
front.
fun. What was that?
That's dope because like back then
Yeah,
it'd be MC
the MC
something,
in
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, it was I don't know if you remember from the movie Breakin'. It was Ozone and Turbo.
Mhm.
They were the two main characters of the movie. They were breakdancers, and like I was, coming from the breakdancing thing, so I called myself MC Turbo.
That's pretty dope, man. Very cool.
I mean,
Uh,
for being a seventh grader, that's pretty creative.
yeah, man. Usually be like some gangster shit, like gangster this or OG that. Um,
Oh, I
so
went through that.
hip
I went
hop.
through that. I went through that phase
Oh, did
too.
you? Nice, nice. So kind of fast forward. You know, how did you meet up with Timothy Rhyme slash come up with the first dirt? How did you get into all that?
Well, First Dare was already going on in Sacramento, and
Mm,
me and my brother had our team going on in LA,
right.
and it was kind of crazy because like we had a mutual cousin. Like I'm related to Tim, kind of through this
Oh, what?
mutual cousin. It's kind of weird, but
Yeah,
yeah, we're kind of
I
related.
had no idea.
Some Mexican stuff, but
Yeah.
but okay, so this mutual cousin would go back and forth. He lived in Sacramento, but he would always come to LA to visit for like family events and stuff like that. And he would always tell us about Tim, like, yo, I got a cousin up there that raps, like you guys should check him out. And originally, like he was trying to get Tim signed to like our stuff that we had going on down here because we were already moving. But in
Mm,
2006, like the main artist on my brother's label and our label was killed out here in Ontario, and that kind of just
oh
ruined
shit.
everything. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah.
the whole business that we had going on just fell apart. And
Mm,
around that time, like my cousin was taking like our CDs up to Sacramento, so Tim was already aware of all of us and stuff. So I mean, after that happened, like I kind of just did my own thing for a couple years, and then eventually that same mutual cousin was just like, "Yo, I want to link you and Tim." And I
mm,
went up to Sacramento one time, and I talked to Tim, and it was basically just like, "Yo, let's start working." And yeah, after that, we just hit the road heavy for
no.
5 years. 5 years we just toured nonstop,
Mm,
and
wow. So.
we were able to build the First Dirt brand, and then
Mm,
unfortunately that kind of took its own different road too.
yeah. Yeah. So we'll get back into the touring stuff in a bit, but so for someone, if I say, "Hey, check out 60 East," and I'm like, "Well," and then they go, "Oh, what does he sound like? What kind of hip hop do you make, or what kind of sound is it?" You classify it,
um, I would definitely say I have a classic sound. I'm definitely like an old school boom bap sound.
right?
But I would say the alternative hip hop sound. I like rocking over guitars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, definitely that kind of sound too. But I like telling people labels. You know what I mean? Because to this day, labels have kind of earned their own sound. So I
Yeah,
always tell people like, yo, if you like Rhyme Sayers or if you like Mellow Music Group or Stone's Throw, then you'll probably like me because I could see
right.
myself on, one of those labels.
I can see that too. Yeah. So who are the 60 East fans? Like, what would you say the demographic is, or what kind of music they're into?
Man, that's a tough one. Like I come across like so many people from different parts of the world, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been kind of hard to just like break them down.
Right, right.
Like different people like me for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's kind of hard to break that down.
That's true.
But I
Yeah.
would say, I mean, I have probably my biggest fan base is probably in South America or Mexico, South America area.
Oh,
So I
nice.
would say
Okay.
they kind of really mess with me out there.
Hmm. Hmm. That's pretty dope, man. Are there any particular artists that kind of helped you influence your rap style?
Oh, I mean, everybody that
Hmm.
I'm a fan of, like I would definitely pick parts of everybody's styles, and just, oh, I'll take this guy's this guy's this. But after, 100 of my favorite artists picking 100 things, it
Hmm.
eventually it turns into your own version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely pick parts from everybody.
Right. Right. Can you list some of your top 10 rappers? Not to list all 10, but it's your top five, maybe, and why is that?
Yeah, I actually just released the music video called Top 10 where I list all 10 of my rappers in song
Hmm.
format, and I give the reason why.
Right. Dope.
That's
Dope.
that's on my YouTube channel. Make sure to check it out. But I mean, the list that I give on the song was basically, how I felt at the time. But I have a lot of different lists. So if we're talking about who I think is the best lyricist, or who I think is
Hmm.
just the greatest, or who I think is the best songwriter, like, we got to break that down a little bit.
Right. True.
Um,
True.
would you
All right.
go with
So, yeah.
top
Okay. So,
five?
yeah, top five. Just like whoever, like who you're feeling right now, or just your all-time favorite. If you could list a couple.
Well, the top five that I say in the song is Rakim,
Mm.
number one, Pharoah Monch, number two, Eminem, number three, Nas, number four, and Tupac is number five.
Right. That's a great list. I mean, Rakim was like the forefront. I mean, he was in the first. He wasn't like the Sugar Hill Gang, but with that lyrical stuff, he's definitely the pinnacle. A lot of artists like Nas like really credit him to that style. So definitely understandable.
Yeah, for sure. His wordplay is amazing.
Hmm.
His
And
patterns crazy.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Um. So you've definitely worked with rappers such as Skyzoo, um, Blue, uh, Slug. Do you still get starstruck when you meet certain rappers?
Oh yeah, I get starstruck all the time. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still a fan. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, that's something I got from Mers. He always said, he's like, yeah, make sure to never forget to always be a fan first. And yeah, like, all, when I meet artists, like, I always tell them, before I try to holler at them serious, like, yo, first and foremost, I'm a big fan.
Right. Um. Uh. Tell us. I mean, I'm a big Atmosphere fan, man. Tell me your experience about meeting Slug.
Man, it was crazy how it happened. Let me let me see how it was. I mean, I don't want to go all into it because it's like
Yeah, that's
super
cool.
crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it's super crazy how it happened, but for the most part, like, I had came across some weed called Atmosphere OG, and
Hmm.
I tweeted it to him, and he hit me back, and he was just like, "Yo, like, that's cool," and he like pinned it on his Twitter for like a month, like all during Christmas time, and he had like I had told him like, "Yo, if you want some, just let me know." So he told
Oh
me, he
shit.
was just like, "Yo," he told me, he was just like, "Yo, send some out to me or whatever," and I was like,
Hmm.
"Cool." And then before I even got the chance to, he came to LA to film the Powder Cocaine video, which is the one of the songs off Evidence's new album. So when he was
Very good
in
album.
LA, yeah, yeah. So when he was in LA, I hit him up and I was like, "Yo, I see you're in LA. I can get you this shit. It's probably easier than to send it out." And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's basically like, "Yo, I'll see you at the Evidence show." And I ran into him at the Evidence show. Hooked him up. uh he was funny because like he was just like, "Yo, so you're 60 East," and like it was just so crazy
Whoa.
to me that he knew my name, and like
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
even my friends that were with me, they were like, "Oh shit!" Like, I had like, it was funny because when he said that, like, I had the biggest smile on my face and I started laughing. I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm 60," and then he started laughing because he seen how like how I started laughing. So it was funny, and then that's when we took the photo. And Slug's known for like not smiling in pictures and stuff like that. He's always making like funny faces, and he has a big old smile in that picture we took. And everybody was hitting me up like, "Yo, I've never seen him smile." Like, blah blah blah. Like, that's cool,
That's dope,
So
man.
after the show or whatever, like we chopped it up on Twitter a little bit, and that was that. But yeah, I mean, that was basically that all that was. There's no,
So
like,
speaking of weed, man, you have a new song called "Smoke One." Feel the Pain. He produced it. Can you talk to us about that? What's that one about?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's called Smoke One. Pretty self-explanatory, man. A lot of my friends were getting on my head because like they were like, "Yo, you don't make a lot of weed songs, man. You smoke a lot of weed. We smoke a lot of weed. Like, we want more stuff to smoke to." And when we were making this project, me and Phil were in the studio, and then we were playing the song. We were playing the beat, and I was like, "Yo, I kind of hear like a weed track over this." And I was like, you know what? I don't have any like specific weed songs, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. And this was basically what came out of it.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty dope. Yeah, I
think this is my third video off of that project.
Yeah. It's dope, dude. Everybody smoking weed and everything. Very cool. All right, so let's see. Any favorite collaborations that you've done in the past?
Man, I like all the collabs that I've done because all the experiences have been different. But I would say, damn. I mean, Sly Boogie, that was like my first big collaboration, and he was like a hero of mine growing up. And just to get to like spend the day with him, that shit was cool. I mean, the same thing goes for Blue and the Skyzoo. Like, I mean, I would say Skyzoo because like I was just randomly in New York. I was on tour with R.A. the Rugged Man, and we had a day off. And I just called Skyzoo, and I was like, "Yo, like I'm in New York, bro. Like, would you be down to shoot the video?" And our relationship was, not that great at that time. We just kind of barely had started working together, and he was basically just like, "Yo, like I respect your grind. Like, I see you working." He's like, "I'm down." He's gonna meet me in Brooklyn. So I just, I got to meet up with him. We shot the video. We went to the bar and we had a couple of drinks. Just talked about hip hop. Like it was cool. We just chopped it up like regular people. We went to check out a studio, and that was that. We've been cool ever since. And I mean, I think that would be cool. That's probably my favorite one because that was like my second time in New York and getting to spend the day and like go have drinks with like one of my favorite rappers, and it was a real cool experience.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Awesome, man. All right, so you said that you toured with R.A. Rugged Man. How is he in person? Because he gives off a very crazy persona on social media and his videos. How is he in real life?
Yeah, he like I had never met him before or anything, and like just from his attitude online, like I always thought he was kind of like an asshole, and I didn't really think that my music fit with his music too much. So when the agent like put me on the tour, I was just like, I don't know how, especially on the East Coast, I didn't know how his fans would take me. But I mean, his fans like they were into me, and I made a lot of fans that tour, and it was cool because like the first night of the tour, or the first night that I performed on the tour, like I got to perform. Like RA was right there, he got to see me perform, and after the show, like when we were doing our meet and greets, he came up to me and he was like, "Yo, man, I seen you guys rock. The agent didn't send me none of your music, so like I was just like going off of what you've seen right now or whatever." And he was like, "Yo, you guys are dope. We're about to go to Denny's after this. Like, let's go have a late dinner or whatever, and just tell me what you got going on." And I was like, "Oh man," like I was like truly humbled, because I was like, "Damn, this dude's like, cool as shit." So,
that's awesome.
we ended up going to Denny's, and he was just like, I had a Rhyme Sayer sweater on. He started asking me about that. He asked me about my Pay Dues tattoo, and it was cool. And he was just like, "Yo, for the rest of the tour, like I want you to be like the main support." And I was like, "Cool," because there was like I believe two or three of us that were opening,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Yo, I want you to be the guy that goes on before me for the rest of the shows." And I was like, "Oh, dude, like that's love, you know?"
Hell yeah.
So after every show that we did, we would end up going to dinner after and chopping it up, and I got to just build a good relationship with him, and Afro was on that tour too, and that's how I became good friends with him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a long answer, but to answer your question,
No, that's good. That's good.
RA is a real good dude, man.
That's dope. Yeah, I like the long answers. I like to get in depth with these stories. It's pretty dope, man. Someone I know knows these people that I look up to. Speaking of your paid dues tattoo, it's on your neck, man. Can you tell us a story about that?
Yeah, I mean, for those that don't know, the Pay Dues Festival is Merz's annual festival they had a few years back. Everybody had performed on there from Wu-Tang to Kendrick Lamar, Macklemore, people like that,
Right.
all the independent artists. It was the biggest independent hip hop festival in the world. And yeah, every year there was a spot for like artists that campaigned to get on. And the last year the festival was active, we won that slot, and we had campaigned for a year, which was the longest anybody had ever campaigned. The owner of Rock the Bells, Mers, all the staff, they all hit us up and were like, "Dude, you guys impressed us. Like we've never been impressed. Like you guys did that," and
Mm-hmm.
they give us all the props. And I mean, for me, that was the biggest thing I've ever done. And coming for the music, and I mean, to this day, like I tell people that was the best day of my life. And
Yeah.
I remember being a kid, man, being in the stands at Pay Dues in like 2008, and telling my
Mm-hmm.
friend like, "Yo, one day I'm gonna be on that stage." And then I got to perform, and then that same friend was in the crowd that day, and he came up to
Wow.
me after I performed, and he was like, "Yo, you probably don't." I didn't remember I said it to him, but he told me, he was like, "Yo, you probably don't remember this, but 5 years ago we were watching Slaughterhouse at this same festival." And you told me one day you're gonna be at that stage, dude, and today you got to do it. And he's like, "Man, like I'm proud of you." And like that,
That's
I
so
mean,
dope.
that day just never left me, man. To this day, bro. Like that's my best day of my life.
That's crazy because as I mean, I don't know how it is now, but back then I remember like the goal. I want to be on Pay Dues or Rock the Bells. And for someone to actually come start off and just be there, that's something on your resume, your rap resume for life. I performed at Rock the Bells and Pay Dues.
Yeah, there was. I mean, to this day, there was tons of artists that never got to perform on those stages. There's a list of a couple hundred acts that got on that show, and that, I mean,
Yeah,
that's gonna go down. That'll go down in history.
hell yeah. And also, I want to thank you because I don't think the audience knows, but I went to CSUN and there was a hip hop culture club, and you went a couple of times and talked to the club. This club mainly had like artists and musicians, producers, and you spit game on how to get in the industry and what to do, what not to do. So I want to thank you for that, man. That was really awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man. I always love doing that. And then I remember, actually, me and Tim, it was on one of our many drives that like I had, kind of told them like, "Yo, that would be a good idea if you did that at the school."
Yeah. There was one artist that really, really like took your word and like was super affected. He goes by Solo. He told me like, "Yo, that shit changed my life." And he's out there doing his own thing, rapping with guitar, just rapping. He's one of the more like successful ones out of all of us. Like he's blown up, and he was like, "Yo, I'm so glad I went to that meeting because that shit changed my life. It changed like how I view music." He took it super serious though. I want to thank you, man.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I think he had messaged me on Instagram a while back.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good to hear, man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it all helped us out. I mean, it inspired me. It was cool because I saw someone who's gonna, pay dues and doing music with like people I look up to, someone tangible. Like, wow, if this person can do it, I can do it too. And you gave some really dope advice. So I want to thank you for that, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah. So let's say a scenario. So like, you're at a show or you're out and about and someone runs up to you, "Yo, 60, I fuck with your music, man. I want to pursue a career in rapping." What are some tips and pointers you can give off the top? Like not everything, but just, you know, some advice.
just be ready to work, man. You know, nothing in this game comes easy. It's a completely different model than what the record industry used to be. You know, with social media, all these apps, all these websites, stuff like that. You know, you can basically blow up without even having any music out, just based on personality, social media presence, and stuff like that. You know, but yeah, I mean, like I told the group that day, I would say learn the business, and just be good, practice.
How do you feel now, this day and age, where, like you said, you don't have to put much music out to be quote unquote make it? You know, as someone who's studied the craft and worked, put your 10,000 hours, no pun intended, it's also an album of yours. How do you feel that now that it's like, it seems that skill and talent is kind of not the priority of being a quote unquote good artist?
It kind of sucks to watch, man. Like I hate to sound like the bitter old dude, but like it's kind of sucks to watch. Like after putting in so much practice and focusing on that part of the craft, just to see so many people not care about it and be more successful.
Yeah,
it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
kind of sucks, but it is what it is, and it's this day and age, and you can either just sit and complain or just try to work around it.
Yeah, I think it's good to work around it because I remember I rap too, and I remember back then. Oh, I thought you had to be a really good freestyle to be an MC because you never know when someone's going to call you out with battle. Oh, you rap, spit right now, freestyle. Now, I don't think freestyle is really a requirement to be a dope MC because back then, if you can't freestyle, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no. All those lines are getting blurred every day, more and more.
So back to the touring thing. Can you give us a brief glimpse into tour life? Because usually the social media, it depicts tours as tour buses, hotels, girls. What's it? Can you give us a brief glimpse into tour life?
Well, depending on what level you're at and
right.
what kind of numbers and business and stuff you got behind you, it could be fun, it could be nice, but for the most part, like on the lower levels and the people trying to come up, it's a grind. It's long flights, long bus rides, long trains, lots of shows that there's not a lot of people. A lot of nights that you're not going to sell a lot of merch, a lot of door deals, a lot of places you're going to have to perform for free.
Right.
You're going to be sleeping on a lot of couches, sleeping on people's floors, basically doing whatever you got to do to get to the next show.
Right.
Just keep stacking those numbers, because the thing, I see a lot of people touring for no reason. Like they're just touring just because it's fun, and I know exactly why they're doing it, and that's why I started doing it early on. But that can get real expensive real quick, and if you're not touring smart and not like collecting email addresses and collecting fans at every stop you go, then you're basically just spinning wheels for nothing. You're just you're performing and you're just going to get your rocks off, because that's what performers are. Like that's what we do, that's what fuels us, is that performance. But if you're just performing to perform, you're just wasting time. So I've been trying to preach to the choir and even to myself, because I get jealous. Like I see a lot of my friends touring and on the road, and I'm like just chilling at home. Like, man, maybe I should be on tour. But then I realized, like, nah, like, see, these people I see, they don't have music out, they don't have albums, they don't got videos, but they're just on the road heavy. I was doing that years ago, and now I'm at a point where it's like, well, you got to have, all right, there's no reason to tour if you don't have an album out or if you're not promoting an album. And stuff like that. So basically, just being able to go through the cycle.
So you said you're on paid dues. I mean, I don't think it does it. I don't know if it exists anymore still. But how did you get onto paid dues? Because there's so many people, I imagine, so many artists that want to be on paid dues, but they're not all selected. How did you get on?
Yeah, well, every year they had a one slot reserved for people that like up and comers that got their attention. And every year there'd be hundreds of artists from all over the world that would try to get on. And basically, we just set up like we had put this plan together like a couple years prior to even executing it. And in 2012, like we decided to take our campaign around the country on our first independent tour, and that really got the attention of the of Mers and Chang, who's the head dude over there. And they seen, us promoting the festival all over the country, and they were like, "Yo, out of all the people campaigning, these guys are working the hardest." And there was people a lot bigger than us. There was people like with, thousands and thousands of fans already that were trying to get on, but because they seen us like working the hardest, and they actually had a voting box that year at Mercer's last two shows of the year, and they had people that were at the show actually vote. So we not only won that, but on top of the year long campaign, they were like, "Yo, these guys deserve that spot."
That's dope. I even heard Merz was like, "Yo, you gotta stop having people on my show to help put you on because everybody's doing it, right?"
What was that? Oh yeah,
I
no,
remember.
yeah. He hit us up to tell our fans not to hit him up on Instagram and Twitter and shit. He was like, "Yo, tell them to hit up the pay dues people because that shit's annoying."
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty dope. So speaking of music festivals, you also decided to make your own called the Hapiness of Pursuit Fest. Can you talk to us about that? How did you get into it and everything?
Well, I've always liked throwing shows. We've done a lot of shows with big acts on smaller scales, and it's always been like a goal of mine to throw a festival. And I mean, last year the opportunity kind of just came up, and I had just gotten back from tour from Europe, and touring. I was kind of over touring at the moment. I wasn't working on no music, so it was kind of like I needed something to fulfill not only my time but just like something that interests me at that moment. And the festival just happened to be it, and that basically took over my life for like 6 months.
Very cool. So what made you want to put on your own music fest aside from just you putting on shows?
Well, I'm a concert junkie. Like one of the other things that fulfills me aside from performing is attending concerts. Just like the energy, I like the setup. Um, Event organizing. Like I like being like, oh, it'd be dope if a Ferris wheel was there and a bar was there. And I've just always kind of been into that stuff. And yeah, I mean, aside from wanting to book acts that I personally like and wanted to build with, I also wanted to create like opportunity for local artists to get exposure and start kind of learning the ropes. So when they get to these higher levels, they'll know what to expect.
Right. Very
Because we
cool.
never had that. Like growing up in the area, there was never nothing like that for us. And after this first year, I had a lot of people tell me that, and they were like, "Yo, like that aspect of it was dope. Aside from everything else."
Yeah, giving people a platform is pretty dope. So how was the process of putting it all together? How long did it take for you to put all this together? That kind of stuff.
Well, basically, I had been throwing shows at a venue out here for like the past couple years. We have a working relationship, and basically they had just said, we like what you're doing. We'd like to see what you can do with the bigger budget, and that's basically what happened. And yeah, with the budget I was given, we were, I hand selected all the artists, put together all the vendors, all that stuff. All the creative stuff, all the business stuff was taken care of.
Nice, cool, man. You also have a podcast. Can you talk about that and some of the guests you've had on?
Yeah, being on the tour, like there's crazy stories happening every day. Some fun, some not so fun. But I've always wanted to capture that, and there's always, whenever you get to talk to other artists, you get to pick their head about crazy stories that they've experienced, and I just wanted to create something where I capture that, and it was the reason I wanted to do the podcast was because I had read a book about the author. He wanted to visit every country in the world before he hit 35, and he documents like his journey in this book. And aside from documenting like his experiences, he documents the people he meets on his journey and their experiences. So I kind of wanted to do the same. So like with the podcast, I'm documenting my life on tour, but also the artists that I meet on tour, and then I get to interview them and then pick some of their stories out, So that's basically the concept of my podcast.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's good to document hip hop stories. I mean, I know it's very similar. What I think of when I do that is when you do that is Nori's Drink Champs and DJ EFN. Because it's cool because it's cool because they're rappers and DJs interviewing other rappers and DJs, whereas other ones are media groups or journalists. It's cool to you're in that same realm, you're in that same circle, so like what they're talking about, or what to ask. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah, I also like that, and I try to keep that in mind when I'm doing the interviews. Like, I don't want to take the journalist approach. I want to, want to be like have that peer bond.
Right. Yeah, it's more casual. Not that you get more out of the stories. Do you have any new projects or videos you'd like to announce?
Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to release my next project. It's a joint collaboration with a producer, songwriter by the name of Ariano. He's worked with everybody from Snoop Dogg to Crooked Eye, everybody in between. We met. We were doing a press interview a few years back, and then he had like spotted me, and he was interested, so we started working. And for the past 2 years, he's been producing me. Probably recorded like 15 to 20 songs, and then we just picked like the handful of the bunch that we wanted to release. And yeah, we're getting ready to release that within the next couple of months. The first video's almost done. I'm just coming off of the heels of my last project, which was the Freeway Series Part 2. That's the video. That's the video I just released, Smoke One. I'll probably end up releasing one more music video after that project. Yeah, after that, after the Ariano project, which is titled Circles, I'm getting ready to release another album with my boy Phil the Pain, who produced the whole thing.
Dope. Very cool. I almost forgot to ask this question. Of the songs you made, are there particular songs that resonate to you the most or that are your favorite?
I have a lot of personal songs, so the personal ones always they'll probably be a little deeper. But as far as like content wise and creativity wise, I think Top 10 is one of my favorites because just from like the critical acclaim that has gotten, a lot of like journalists and people that wrote about it called it a classic. There's classic albums and there's classic songs, and a lot of people are calling it a classic song, and I was never convinced that I had a classic song in my catalog, but I'm kind of confident that this song is one of those. So I would say top 10 is probably one of my favorites as of now.
My favorite is Almost with Satellite Rock.
Almost There?
No, Almost There. Yeah, that one's fire. Almost Same. Yeah, Almost Same. That's just like some motivation in the morning you get up. It's fucking dope.
Got you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Nope, no problem. All right, so where can we find you on social media? By the way, everyone, this guy's funny ass Instagram/Twitter. You should follow this shit. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, my Twitter is at 60east909. Instagram at 60east, and my website is 60east.net, spelled out, so it's SIXTYEAST.net.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you, man, for being on the show. Thank you for taking your time out. I appreciate it, man.
For sure, bro. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Have a good one.
All right, bro.
All right, later.